Good evening, and welcome to my Wednesday episode. I'm gonna call this one "Witty Comebacks." The theme is based on watching the Johnny Depp stuff with the latest witness they had on trial, the gentleman from TMZ. There was an exchange between Amber Heard's defensive team and the witness that had me kind of think about those big scenes in movies where personalities clash, and we always get a comic relief out of it and enjoy it. But in this case, obviously, it's for a trial. But anyone watching has had to have gotten some sort of entertainment value out of it. When she's all like, objection, Your Honor, argumentative, and it's like overruled. And then she asks a question. She's like, so would it be safe to say that because you have no basis on this trial, you're not offering any evidence to or for that you're just seeking your 15 minutes of fame? And then he's like, I literally am gaining nothing from doing this. I'm actually putting a target on my back. I have no obligation to do this. I had no reason to do this. I just wanted to do this. And I mean, the argument could be said, aren't you taking her as a client just because of who she is and your 15 minutes of fame? She's like, well, I think that's pretty argumentative. He's like, I don't think so. I think it's logical. Like, opposite opinions. But it makes me think about a couple funny scenes that I really enjoy. Marvel has a lot of good ones. So I like to think about Iron Man and Captain America in the first Avengers. They had a very big back and forth scene that I really enjoy because it was a good movie. For the way they writ it was really well, because it's a movie where all these big personalities, all these people that didn't really know much of each other, they just knew some of the dirty details, if you will, but not their whole story, clash together, have to create themselves as one unit of heroes and then save the world. So it was very interesting seeing their opinions and everything clash. And at one point, Tony Stark walks up to Captain America in their argument in the laboratory. He just buddies up with him. He's just like, I mean, come on, why can't a man blow off a little steam? And he knocks his arm back. He's like, you know goddamn well why, so back off. Ooh, I'm really starting to want you to make me. Ooh, yeah, big man in a suit of armor. Take the suit off. What are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist? He's like, I know men that aren't worth any of that are worth 10 of you. You're not the one to make the sacrificial play. You're not the one to lay on the wire, let the other man crawl over you. I think I would just cut the wire. Yeah, well, you may not be the villain in this scenario, but you better stop trying to play the hero. What, like you? You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle. Put the suit on. Let's go a few rounds. Right? That's pretty great. And then just a little bit later, they all start talking, and a couple of them mention in the background, God, something is driving my mind crazy. He's all like, they're all like, if we can't remove Mr. Banner before he hulks out, we're gonna have to kill him. No one can kill me. I know. I've tried. And everybody gets dead quiet, just like, I got low. I didn't see an end. So I put a bullet in my mouth. The other guy spit it back out. You want to know my secret, Miss Romanov? You want to know my secret? And he grabs a spear that realizes, like, Dr. Banner, put down the scepter. And he's like, oh, right. Anyway, that has got to be pretty powerful for me. And then later in the Avengers Infinity War, there's a couple exchanges, both with Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. And by the way, we have Sherlock, Robert Downey Jr., Sherlock, Benedict Cumberbatch, and we didn't get a single no shit Sherlock mentioned in the entire flick. What were you thinking? That was script gold. If you would have struck a moment where one looked at the other in the middle of everything, is like, no shit, Sherlock. And then they would have both done the whole, what? Right? That would have been great. But no, you guys missed that opportunity. Anyway, there's plenty of other great ones. But I'm thinking of the scene when Doctor Strange brings Tony Stark to the sanctuary. They're talking about Thanos. Banner's breaking it down, and he's mentioning how he wants to kill off the universe with the snaps and everything, and Doctor Strange mentions it, and Tony Stark started leaning up against his face and started stretching his legs out because he just got done jogging with Pepper. And he's like, it'd be like Hitler, some odd number, like odd quadruple or whatever. He's like, did you just say Hitler on quadruple? Are you seriously leaning on the vase of the cosmos? Ping! I'm going to allow that. And he's just like, so why don't we just deep six the greenstone and throw it down the chute? And he's just like, because it's my job to protect it. And what is your job, by the way, besides making balloon animals for birthday parties? To protect your reality, douchebag. Like, that was personality and ego just, right? They're just button heads. And then, as Lana would say in the Archer TV show, why? Because your ego needs its own zip code? That's the kind of, that zip code ego is going at it now. Later, when they run into Star-Lord and the Guardians of the Galaxy, Peter's trying to warn him that someone's coming, but he goes into this big thing, and Iron Man interrupts him. He's just like, kid, if one more pop culture reference comes out of you, you're grounded the rest of the trip. All I'm trying to say is someone's coming. And then the grenade goes off and the fight begins. Thanos! Ah! The fucking clip! Get off me! Murder! Blanket! like, great lines. Great comedy. Great action. And then Iron Man gets ready to blast him. And Star-Lord gets Peter Parker. He's like, all right, everyone, chill the F out. He's like, I'm only going to ask this once. Where is Gamora? Right? And then he's like, I'll do you one better. Who is Gamora? And I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora? Right? And then he's just like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me ask you this. What master do you serve? What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus? You're from Earth. No, I'm not from Earth. I'm from Missouri. That's on Earth, dipshit. But their whole argument, and then later when they use this meme of them like doing like the analyzing, calculating kind of edit, which was hilarious, which was he's like, all right, guys, we need to bind together because if all we come at him with plucky attitude, we're good as dead. Hey, dude, don't call us plucky. We don't know what it means. And remember, that 50% of me, that's stupid, that's 100% you. Wow. Your math is really blowing me away here. But he's just like, are you yawning right now? When I'm breaking this down? How much did you even hear? I don't know. I stopped listening after you said we need a plan. Okay, Mr. Clean's on his own page. Dude, relax. Planning is not something we do. We just are winging it. It's not something we do. See, you have a plan. I like it. It's good, but mine's better. So let's do mine. They do the plan. By the way, this is my plan. It's not hard to catch. But those kind of things are what's great, I think. And then it makes me think about some of the older films I've seen that I enjoy, like The Three Musketeers, Disney, with Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Queen. I hope to God it's Oliver Queen, because Oliver Green doesn't sound right. I think it's Oliver Queen. Anyway, Oliver Platt? I'm going to have to look this guy up, because I need to remember. I've seen him in, like, Placid. I love the guy. He's freaking hilarious. But he plays Porthos. And D'Artagnan comes running around the table, knocks his cup on the table, and spills into his lap. And he's like, excuse me. You have damaged the sash. This sash was given to me by the Queen of America. There's no Queen of America. I beg to differ, sir. And he drops the sash. And then he's just like, is that all you're good at? Or you put your actions where your words are? He's like, oh. This nobody, challenges the mighty Porthos to a duel. And everyone starts laughing and he's like, who? Don't tell me you've never heard of me. World's biggest windbag. Little Pimple, meet me behind the old Spanish mission at 1 o'clock and bring a long wooden box. Bring your own. Right? Anyway, So later, after he ran in all three of them, later he shows up at the Spanish mission, and they all show up, and then Porthos notices Athos is getting off his mount and everything, and he's just like, Athos, you cannot fight this boy. Why? I'm fighting him. That's not until 1 o'clock. I also have an engagement with this young lad. That's not until 2 o'clock. Wow. Well, you seem to be pretty stacked afternoon, so let's get started, right? But, I mean, you gotta admit, those moments are great. Like, even in that film, Tim Curry, I think my favorite line, second favorite line he's ever done. I mean, he's got so many. Okay. He's on he's sitting in the king's throne after he just took him hostage. He's talking about his maniacal plan to rule the monarchy and everything, and the church, and all he needs is a queen and an ally. And he's like, all I need is a queen by my side. She's like, I would rather die. He gets up in a rage and kicks the thing. He's like, that can be arranged. But when he's when they take off with his carriage, he's like, these musketeers are becoming a menace. 100,000 pounds for each one of them dead or alive. And then he starts walking away. I prefer dead. Like, makes it easy, right? Or he stops Athos, or Athos stops, or not Athos stops. Yeah, Aramis stops him, and he's just like, "It's time for you to be with God," right? And he pulls out the sword. He's like, "You first," and shoots him with the flintlock. Or when he's with the Countess, and he's like, one word from me, and you will be back on the corner where I found you. And she's like, in one flick from my wrist, I'll change your religion. Right? He's like, I like this one. But I gotta say, those are what lead to really great films, where you kind of like more relatable, if you will. There was a scene, it ended up being cut as a gag reel for season 3 or 4 of Stargate, when Amanda Tapping, Sam Carter, and Richard Dean Anderson's Jack O'Neill got sent to Antarctica because too much energy hit the gate and they got diverted, but there's another gate close enough, so whatever. And he was bleeding internally and hurt and stuff, and they're trying to chip the ZPM out of the ice so they can activate it to or dial home device, DHD. Yeah, sorry. Chipping out the DHD. And she's sitting there and she just starts going on this like frantic explanation and argumentative tone. And they didn't keep in the final take, but they put it as a gag reel. And she's like, God. She's like, I got MacGyver here on Antarctica. Like, we got some paper clips, some rubber bands, and a chewing gum. Why don't you make us like a nuclear reactor so we can get out of here? McFix it, McDo it, McGadget. Now you're McWorthless. He starts turning to the camera like, cut? Like, I'm getting attacked here. And then they all the crew starts laughing a little bit. She's like, God damn it, I'm stuck on Antarctica with MacGyver. They all start laughing. And Richard's like, oh. But I love that. And in Stargate, like, the two most back and forth characters would be Jack and Daniel, I think. Just because, like, they built those actors, and then their characters as a result built such a chemistry that's great. I love the Loop episode. I wish I remember the name of the episode itself. I always have to look it up every time, but a beam hit the gate, and only because they were near the device that's supposed to shield them, only Teal'c and Jack remembers everything. And they're sitting there, and this is like the third flash or something, and Jack is sitting there, and he interrupts the briefing. He's like, all right, something weird is going on here. And him and Teal'c are standing at the edge of the table. He's just like, now you were about to explain something, how we need to go to P4X 639 to investigate magnets. Geomagnetic storm. Yeah, that's correct. How did you know that? maybe, or General's like, maybe he read the report. Maybe he read the report? Right? Daniel goes, it's like, nah. And then he's just like, I don't know what it is, but whatever happened on P46389 set us in some sort of time loop. Now, whatever happened, me and Teal'c are the only one that remembers. And every time something happens, you send us down to medical. Now, what I can tell you is, no need to have old Doc Fraser check us out again. And literally next scene, click, light. Click, light. Honestly, tell me, what could be in my eyes that could possibly explain this? and then him and Teal'c start talking and bantering, and he's like, honestly, Teal'c, every start of our cycle, Daniel was asking me a question at breakfast, and I wasn't paying attention in the first place. You're not the only one that experiences discomfort, O'Neill. Flash. Door right in his face. Oh, sorry, sir. I didn't see you. You have said that on many occasions. Perhaps next time I won't be so forgiving. Okay, right? The guy has no idea. But they're sitting there, and Daniel's like, well, why don't I have to teach you the Latin derivatives and everything so that you can learn the ancient language, and then you can help me progress through my my studies. So since you get the refresh, you get all that memory. I don't. And Jack's like, oh, I'm way ahead of you on this. He pulls out the recording, and Teal'c's like, O'Neill no, wait. I got it on recording. And he starts clicking in, it's not making any sound. Careful. If you made that recording in time reset, then the recording was never made. Fine. How hard can it be? And the best thing about that is, so Jack doesn't claim to be the smartest one, and you get used to him being the comic relief, and even though he's the serious character and the technically know-how character and warrior type, he wasn't the intellect of the group. So him and Teal'c, who never claimed to be an intellect, he knew some stuff, but he was a warrior, and mysticism, whatnot, he always considered things were magic, because he never learned the scientifics of it until now. Anyway, so them learning the ancient language with the foremost expert on Earth, Daniel Jackson, and teaching him stuff and correcting him was its own comic relief. Like, he's sitting there, he's writing on the chalkboard, and you hear Teal'c, that is incorrect, Dr. Jackson. And he turns and looks. Jack, the word abise eru means to give up, not surrender. And he looks at him like, what? Like, right? I mean, because they'd have to tell him every time about the looping and everything and try to get it convincing and learning all that stuff. Anyway, so I actually had a genuine moment watching this episode when it was live, when I was younger. He shows him conjugating a bunch of it, and he goes and sits down, or translating a bunch of it, and he goes and sits down, and he's like, your turn, Teal'c. And Teal'c goes up there, and he's sitting there, and he just like, right? He's just like tired of it. And Daniel's like, so how many of these loops have we been through? I don't know. I lost track. Wow. That's gotta be exhausting. Yeah. I said it at the same time, and everyone in my family's like, whoa! It's so cool. But then Daniel chimes this... probably the worst part of this episode for them, because it got very counterproductive. He's like, if you and Teal'c are the only ones that have any recollection of events that happen and time resets, there's no punishment. You literally can do anything you want, and there'd be no consequence. And as he does, Jack's getting really interested, and he's just like, I've gotta go. And he gets up and leaves, and Teal. And he leaves as well. They start doing their different activities. He walks in, near the end, he walks in and hands Hammond he's like, "Good evening, George." It's like, "Colonel, what are you doing out of uniform?" "Tendering my resignation." "Resigning? What for?" "So I can do this." Right? Goes in for the kiss and everything, and then flashes the next scene in the briefing. He's just sitting there. And she's like, "What?" "Nothing." Like, he's just having fun with it. But then, the more serious part of it, when he's talking, when they're on the planet, they're getting ready to stop it, they're convincing the guy to stop it. It's a very big heart-to-heart moment with Jack. And you even see Carter, who was starting to love Jack's character, Jack, even she notices, like, this was not a norm for Jack. He's talking to the guy. He's like, "Look, I know what it's like to lose someone." He's like, "You can't. I lost my son. I know. And as much as I can never go through that again. Can you?" "No." "Turn it off." Right? It was an intense scene. It's like, "You can't." He's like, "I lost my son." Because his son committed suicide, and pretty rough. It was the whole premise of the first movie, why he went on the first mission, because it was supposed to be a suicide mission. He was going to stay on the other side, set off the nuke, blah, blah, blah. "Send my regards to King Tut, asshole." I love that scene. But I think that's going to be it for now. I'll talk more about it later, but I definitely, just because what I saw in the trial and stuff, it kind of themed this episode for me, and those kind of moments are really entertaining, because and I'm kind of disappointed in Marvel. No shit, Sherlock. Not one. Lost that opportunity. Tony gone. Anyway, till next time. I'll see you around. If you guys chimed in, thank you, and I hope it was some entertainment value to you. If not, you'll see me around. Alright, sayonara.